It's The Session. I'm your host, Michelle Nicole Charles, and I have my lovely co-host today, Ari.
Yes, hello.
And we have a special guest. Her name is Shayna Hiller. She is a meditation teacher and a yoga instructor. You can catch her at Tantris, right?
Tantris.
And she'll plug herself in later on, but she's here to tell us all the benefits about meditation, all that good stuff, all that jazz, and help us get a better understanding what meditation is, you know? So how are you feeling today, Shayna?
I'm so good. I'm so grateful to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
Yes,
It's
awesome.
amazing.
You just got back from like a world tour, right?
I love social media. Isn't it amazing? I was like, how was your trip? I'm like, how'd you know? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I was all over the planet. I was in Bali running a women's empowerment retreat.
Wow.
And then I spontaneously went to India to actually study bhakti yoga, which is the yoga of the heart, so chanting and meditation. So
Wait a minute. So tell me about this women empowerment event in Bali, because I just tweeted today, like, bucket list, I need to go to Bali. So I would love to go to Bali and do that.
Girl, you don't even know. I went to Bali last year by myself for 16 days.
Wow.
It was like an intuitive trip because I had wanted to go to Bali for a long time. And it was, I can't even explain it, but I went and I had this experience that I almost can't explain in words, but I feel like Bali is a place for women to go. And like just being there did something to my like body, mind, being, soul. And I felt compelled to take women to Bali to have an experience.
Wow.
And so like it wasn't even thought, it wasn't even mind, but I knew that that was part of my dharma, part of my purpose, you know? So I just like manifested it. I met this random woman through the internet, through social media, who lives in Bali, and we designed a retreat without even meeting each other. We only met when we got there. And it was like seamless. It was like, okay, I'm surrendered to whatever wants to happen. So, you know, it was yoga, meditation, and some other practices, communication practices, and other type of healing work and fun, like Bali Bliss Day for the goddesses. You know, I feel like it's important to teach women about pleasure and about self-love and to come together like we used to back in the day and share in that way.
When's the next one? I want to go.
I know,
I
right?
know,
It's in the
right?
works. It's in the works.
Okay.
Very cool.
Happening.
I need to know because
Yeah.
I want to go and experience it.
And you haven't been to Bali?
No, I haven't been.
It is like, oof. It's funny because I used to live in Costa Rica, and then I traveled to India a lot. I know, it's like weird. It's like, I don't get it.
You're so
I'm
random.
Like, it's weird. It's random. I feel like that should be my middle name, Shayna Random Hiller.
Yes.
Because it's like, yeah, by the way. And Bali was like this cohesion of everywhere I've been because it's spiritual, it's like luxury, it's tropical, it's healthy, it's cheap, you know, but best quality ever. So I felt like, you know, it was that, it is. So when I'm surrounded by something that is high quality and natural, I feel like my being kind of takes the exact same shape as that.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm like, come, let's go and see what happens. So it's a magical land.
That's awesome.
That's all I'll say though, because the experience will be the ultimate.
It will speak for
teacher.
itself.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's
And everyone has
amazing.
their unique experience.
Well, sign me up because I'm in there.
Done.
I'm in there. So how did you even get started into meditation practice and into yoga? Was that a part of your childhood?
Definitely not. Definitely not. And I think because it was so extreme the opposite, that's probably why I gravitated toward this side, because my life was just like kind of crazy. I mean, whose isn't, you know? I grew up in New Jersey and I was a hairdresser, and I was like, if I didn't leave New Jersey, I would probably have 4 kids right now, be on the second hubby. It's cool, you know, like love and light. But, you know, the way I got into it, it was subtle. I was in college and did not enjoy my time in college, was super stressed out, and someone said I should take a yoga class, and I didn't want to. So I went to the gym instead. So I became like a workout-aholic at the gym. And then by chance, I was studying abroad in Australia during college, and I stepped into a yoga class by accident. I thought it was going to be kickboxing because I was super into like high-intensity cardio and all this. And it ended up being a yoga class, and I was like, completely, at first I was like, oh crap, how am I gonna leave? Because they're like, oh sorry, there's a sub today, it's yoga instead of kickboxing. I'm like, oh god, I'm gonna be like rolling around on the floor. And it happened to be a vinyasa class, like a super invigorating, intense class. And I was like, what just happened? Because not only did I feel physically strong afterwards, but because of the heavy emphasis on the breathing, and the meditation aspect of it, and who knows what else is happening, because those postures are like legit.
They are.
You know, they work on so many different levels. I was like, whoa, I feel like calm. I had been just so stressed out for a long time, and I didn't have the tools to deal with anxiety, which I don't think is wrong or bad, and I think it's natural part of life, stress and anxiety, but not knowing how to deal with it was crippling. And so that class, I didn't even know. It wasn't like someone taught me what's actually happening in my mind, but I felt it. It was an experience. So I was hooked. I was hooked. And I went back to college, and I figured out where to go to yoga. I was like, I went to my teacher. I'm like, where can I learn more? Where can I do a training? She said, go to Costa Rica. That's what led me to Costa Rica. So I did my teacher training there. And then from then on, I've just been kind of continuing to learn and do other trainings in yoga and meditation. Yoga is meditation in a way, but the two go hand in hand. But it's important for people to know that you don't have to do physical yoga postures. You don't have to worry about being flexible and strong and all of that. It's all designed to help us sit in stillness without distraction.
Right. So I have a question. So how did you fund this? Because I know a lot of people love yoga. They would love to get certified, but it's like, how do I come up with $4,000 to $5,000 up front to invest in this career path? Because it is a career path.
It is a career path. That's interesting. I have like so many answers to that. In fact, I help people who want to become yoga teachers discover how to do that and discover how to grow their business. Also, I have a YouTube channel.
Nice.
Build your personal yoga business. And that's a huge question that comes up often is the funding. And especially because I feel like I was 21 when I decided to become a yoga teacher. I was very fortunate. So I could have gone to my I could have gone to school to do hair, like to continue my education in that direction, or yoga school. So my parents helped me out significantly with that because I was young. I'm super grateful to that. But there are a lot of people at any age who it's like, if you want to shift your career or if you want to just like have an experience and deepen your practice, even if your desire isn't to teach, it's like, oh gosh, what do I do? There are creative ways of going about it. One is like to honestly just be bold and trust the universe. I have to say, and put it on a credit card and develop a plan to pay it back, and trust that by investing in yourself, if this is your true calling from your heart, that it's going to come back and that it's all going to work out. That is honest. That's honest, like a possibility. And I've found that when I truly tune in to what my soul wants and I take action, even if it doesn't necessarily make logical financial sense, it works out. It's strange and mysterious and magical, but things will line up. If that doesn't float your boat, I get it. It's like, well, but the practicalities. They have online trainings these days too. Meditation, yoga, which are a lot less expensive. They have payment plans for a lot of yoga teacher trainings. You can do a training in your own hometown. Like I went away, it was more expensive because I had to also pay for accommodations,
housing, food,
all that stuff.
Flights.
So there's a lot of opportunities to make it cheaper, and like it needs to be aligned. So if that's like a burden or if that's going to be a stressor, then that also perhaps is an indication that maybe it's not the right timing. So like, because things need to fall into place. For me, somehow they did. I'm like, all right, I'll do this. But if there's like that underlying, I shouldn't be, or it's not going to work, like it's cool. There's time.
Yeah.
I like to not like put any type of pressure in this type of work.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
So what are the benefits that you can get from meditating?
Oh gosh, how long do we have?
10 hours later.
10 hours later. Number 8,425. The benefits you can get. Well, I mean, like it's all out there, right? It depends. I know some people are like really exposed to that. I think it's coming to the forefront more and more, like the legitimate scientific benefits of meditation. I love that. I love when this type of work is actually researched scientifically.
Yeah.
At the same time, your own experience is your own experience. Like I said, anything from reduced levels of stress and anxiety. See, it's like you don't have to figure out the solution to a problem. That's what I've learned for me. It's like I used to always think that I had to come to some sort of a solution to all my like shit in my head. And it's like meditation is the solution for me. It's like I don't need to figure stuff out. I just need to carve out the time for meditation. And all of a sudden, not only do I feel calmer in my mind, but because of that spaciousness that's inevitably created through creating space for what seems like nothing, which is really, I think, just a coming home to our natural state, there's this clarity of mind where I can kind of see things as they are and see experiences and issues in my life that I think are problems as they are without that extra layer of resistance. So it provides me more time, actually. So someone who used to feel like there were not enough hours in the day for anything, meditation gives me more time. And it actually has shifted my consciousness in a way that, oh, is that even true? Is that true that this is wrong or bad? Is that true that there's not enough time? And when I, even if I feel like there's not enough time, create the space for it, time expands in my day, which I think is crucial for not only flowing through life with more ease, but on a physical level too. I studied nutrition and the body, and meditation is nutrition. It improves your digestion, it improves your circulation, it calms your nervous system. So like, imagine meditating for weight loss. Like, how weird does that sound? I know it's like so, trendy. But if you think of digestion, as really the root cause of all imbalances, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and stillness. And think of when you're resting. There's a lot of detoxification happening in your body. So if you can include that rest during your day, it's like a mini vacation for yourself. So it helps on all levels is what I guess I'm trying to say. Physically, mentally, emotionally. It'll help you make choices that are hard instead of having to go to someone for advice. Like, you have your own teacher within. And meditation, over time, it's like building a muscle. Is it hard in the beginning for many people? Yeah. Is it challenging? Yeah. Is it going to bring up your shit? Sure. But you got to get to the darkness to eventually find that light that's always within.
When I first started meditating, hold on. When I first started meditating, I sucked at it. I'm gonna be honest with you. Like, I didn't know what I was doing. I was constantly like thinking about other things instead of not. I was thinking of not to think. If that makes any sense.
Yes, it does.
I was like, I'm not supposed to be thinking, but I'm thinking right now. How do I stop thinking? Oh man, I was just terrible at it. And then I worked at a job and they provided meditation on Wednesdays, and I would just go first. Like I said, I started going to get away from my desk, and I was like, this is a perfect excuse. This is a perfect getaway, yes, to take a nap. And then I really started getting into it. And as I practiced more, the more I learned to be still and to just be in peace or calm. I don't know if that makes any sense, but just to like let everything go. What do you have any tricks or any insight for people who are just getting started with meditation on how to not think while they're meditating?
Well, this may seem counterintuitive, right? Here's my take. Thinking is natural. It's normal. Thoughts come and go. They're not up to us. I for me at least, it's like, I don't want that thought. Where the hell did that come from? I don't want that one, right? Or some I do want. It's like, oof, I'm just daydreaming the day away. Thoughts, what some of my teachers have taught, thoughts are like clouds. Think of your thoughts are like clouds, right? Throughout the day, they're moving in, they're moving out, and we have these choices at our disposal. And what meditation does is it really like magnifies that. We have choices as to what thoughts we either believe or hold on to or create a story about. Like, it can become a downward spiral. It's like, okay, this sucks. Oh gosh, let me just brood on this. Let me dwell on this. And then it becomes something bigger than it actually is, because it's meant to be a passing cloud. So what I really encourage, especially for beginning meditators, is to avoid judgment and to know that thoughts are natural. And part of meditation is to become the witness of your thoughts, to simply watch them as if they were weather. Some are sunny, some are rainy, some are stormy, some are just somewhere in the middle. And through certain techniques, and there are thousands of techniques, and you got to find the one that works for you so that meditation doesn't feel like a chore. Right. It doesn't mean it doesn't feel like a challenge in the beginning, but it's like, there's healthy challenges and then there's like pain and like disconnect, and only you know what style of meditation would work for you. But at the end of the day, avoid judging yourself for thinking and become the witness of your thoughts. See if you can watch them without attaching to them, watching them flow by, because then this magical thing happens. And for all of us, it's at a different time, but there could be this, oh my gosh, this aha moment where I am the watcher and my thoughts are the thoughts, and I am not my thoughts. So I actually say have thoughts, right? And see if you can avoid getting entangled in them. And in that spaciousness that you create between you as the witness and that movement, the fluctuations of your mind, that space over time will increase and increase and increase until, like you said, oh my gosh, all of a sudden, like, it just felt calm. So you may not have realized at the beginning that maybe that struggle, like maybe that was necessary. And I would also encourage, it's okay to think. Meditation is not about not thinking, because the mind and the being are two separate things. The mind's function is thinking. There's a great quote by Osho. It says, the mind is a faithful servant, but a dangerous master. So you can kind of direct that course and just don't let it take over. So it's kind of a fine line. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And I think that, have you heard of The Untethered Soul?
Yes.
Okay, amazing book.
Michael Singer?
Oprah,
Yeah,
Oprah just did a podcast with him as well, but my mom gave that book to me. And so we drove from Indiana to here, and throughout our drive, every hour or so in different states, we would go off reading to each other. And it's an amazing book, but I think that it's really hard. And I think that even people that I've met out here, myself included, the biggest thing getting in my own success, my own happiness is myself, which is this dichotomy of the human, right?
Totally.
But being able to separate, I am versus I feel versus I'm thinking is so integral. And I believe that they refer to the mind as, monkey mind.
Yeah.
It's just how it just goes. And we're trying to sort things out. We want to understand, why didn't he text me back? Well, it's probably because we just want to make sense of things.
Yeah.
And so the letting go of, I don't know, why do I feel really sad about this? Okay, I'm going to feel sad about it. All right, great. Moving on. Like, it's a lot harder to kind of sit with things, but the question is, how long can you sit with things and then move forward and keep going, or dwell? And the dwelling, I think, is a lot easier.
Yeah.
Which is crazy because nobody wants to be in that space, but it's almost easier to sit there and be like, my life is, than to get out and go outside. Sometimes it's literally just going outside or calling your friend or, and so for yourself, have you, mentally before getting into this practice, are you still someone that has anxiety, anxious thoughts? How does your mental health coincide with your passion for this craft?
Yeah, wow, great. That's amazing. Thank you. I'm a human. I'm a human, just like anyone else. So it's like the human existence, like you just said, that dichotomy, that interesting paradox. It's a flow. It's a wave. It's like the ocean. So we can go into it. We can go out of it. And again, it's like I look at life sometimes as a meditation. And some days, for whatever reason, it's a darker day, and other days it's a brighter day. And I do my best. To avoid judging it, to avoid making a story out of it,
right.
And to observe things as they are. Meditation's not about. I find this a lot, especially in this world of wellness and yoga. It's like, don't think or turn off your mind. And I don't necessarily think that that's the point, because still underlying there's like a layer of resistance. Like, I am not okay as I am, that my thoughts are not okay, and that the way that I am inherently is somehow flawed. And so really what this practice is, no matter what, and yes, I experience anxiety and stress, it does not affect me as much as it used to in my body, though, because of the techniques. These techniques and tools work. Breathing works. Observing works. It's very simple, and it's also very challenging because we've been conditioned through our culture, through the media, to dwell. I mean, think of like reality TV. It's just one big drama. It's one big dwelling on one thought that becomes a show. It's one freaking thought that's like, oh my God, this is real. And maybe that's not true. And maybe there's another way to handle it. So, I do have my days, and I do have these tools, and sometimes they work better than others, and each moment is a new moment. So I keep going with that. But it's important to come back to self-love. Like, that to me is the foundation of a healthy meditation practice. And, even in the yoga world, there's a lot of like, oh my gosh, like, I'm working on myself. I'm working on becoming better, becoming more enlightened or more spiritual. And again, it's like the fundamental me is somehow not already whole.
Right. That's
so
true too.
So we got to start on that space of already I'm whole. And this is just a coming back and a remembering of my divine essence. So, that's really the perspective that I try to teach people. And like, that's sometimes hard too, because it's like, well, what if I were already good as I am and amazing as I am, and my purpose and my dharma is to get out there and go for a walk and share my essence with others? Because it requires taking responsibility for oneself instead of being in the story in the victim mode. So it's like, who would I be? And sometimes we're scared to really reveal or discover that. And I say, get excited, because anxiety and excitement are the same energy with a different spin in the mind.
Yes, I've never thought about that. That's
I
like
agree.
a great thing. That really, when I feel anxious, I'm like, it can be so debilitating that I'm like, dude, if I was like so psyched right now, I'd be like off the wall. You know what I mean? That's a great. I'll have to share that with
Energy
my dad.
is energy.
That's interesting.
Energy is energy, and it's the twist that you give with your mind that dictates the course, the direction of that flow. You know, my teachers used to always say, where the mind goes, energy flows. And sometimes we're so in a rut that if you take time, 5 to 15 minutes of meditation a day, your style, and we maybe get to that, but the styles of meditation differ. So you don't have to force yourself into a little seat. It's just not necessary. But the time that you carve out that you know is your time for ritual and meditation and sacred time with yourself, that's going to flood through your day, and it's gonna change everything.
What are the different styles of meditation?
I mean, you know,
The basics.
The basics, yeah. I mean, the sitting meditation, breathing is amazing. You can do meditation laying down if sitting isn't for you. To me, walking in nature can be a meditation if you leave your phone at home and if you're present, if you're breathing, if you stop, you know, if you really are alive with your senses. There was a time when I started meditation, eyes closed. I used to do the 10-day silent meditation, Vipassana. I know,
great.
it's like torture. But, I mean, it taught me a lot. It was a phase. Nowadays, I feel like I just don't, that's not my jam anymore. And like literally like being in the world and not attached is my meditation. It's like, can I still be calm in my center as I go out into this interesting temporary material existence? So there's different phases of meditation. You know, if you have a space that's sacred to you or something that brings you into the moment, it can be painting, it can be dance, it can be music. I mean, really that which your mind is not and you are. Your being is completely immersed into an experience and you're completely awake and aware and alert. To me, that's meditation.
Yeah.
You know, you see someone that's like totally in their passion without the need for external stimulation, right? Too much, right? It's something in the middle. So, but if you are getting started, I do say 5 minutes of sitting a day is amazing, because if you're not sure what your jam is yet, that 5 minutes of sitting and clearing the mind and just being with what is and focusing on the flow of your breath can spark some sort of inspiration.
So you said you did the 10 days of silence, yeah?
Yeah.
How was that experience? And what made you want to do it?
Oh my God, I just, it was kind of like a challenge. I was like, wow, I knew
10
people who
days.
had did it. Yeah, I knew people who had done it. And I'm like, oof, I need to do that. And I did another one with Jack Kornfield, and I think John Kabat-Zinn was there. But I did, I had just, you know, read about it and watched videos on YouTube of people who have done it and known. I actually, when I went to India the first time about 10 years ago, one of the hosts of the retreat that I attended, she was like a 30-day Vipassana meditator with her boyfriend, and genders were separated. And I was just so, my mind was blown. I'm like, wait, so you guys, and they were like so in love. Their love was palpable. And they spend most of their time separate in meditation for, I don't know, 16 hours a day, besides when they're sleeping, in silence. And they don't eat after like 4 p.m. I'm like, it sounded simultaneously like the worst torture in the world and the most inspiring experience ever. Because I'm like, whoa, you're like, what? I don't know, because you're glowing. So I saw it. Like I felt their energy, and I'm like, I'm curious.
Yeah.
You know, so I went into it. It was very challenging, and at the same time, I was at a point in my life where I tended to like isolate myself. So there was this interesting cave-like experience that I was like, ooh, I can hide away. And it's interesting because I realized I was hiding away. So it wasn't necessarily the full experience that it like could have been, but at the same time, I always trust that, you know, it's all good as it is, because it all teaches us. It brings us to the next level. You know, that's another phase of the non-judgmental awareness, is like nothing is, you know, like letting go of the regrets and trusting that every single step on the journey has led you to where you are today. You know, and it's all part of it. It's all meant to be as it is.
Yeah, that's huge. Trust. I mean, I always think of Michelle, because the first time that we met for lunch, before I was even a part of It's a Session, we were just talking about life and how she's made the transition here. And I think, was it a quote? Was it a quote from someone? Trust the process, not the
Well, I always say trust the process.
Yeah,
but
me too.
I always say that, but I interviewed Russell years ago, Russell Simmons, at Argyle at one of his fashion shows in Miami Beach, and I don't remember what the hell I asked him, but his response was, and I would never forget. He goes, "The most important part of success is the journey." He's like, "Because once you get there, you're like, what's next? You know, that's like the fun part is the journey." And I was just like, damn, he's right. I need to trust the process and enjoy this journey. So that's always stuck to me.
Absolutely. Like, make your work a labor of love. That's it. Like, because we only have now as it is. And there's the idea of coming to a destination is simply that. It's an idea. It is an idea, because the moment you're there, it's like desire is desire. And it's sweet. You know, as human beings, we have desire. We want to grow. And at the same time, realizing that it can't necessarily be fulfilled. You know, it's just a constant flow. So if we are setting our, you know, it's one thing to have goals and intentions and desires, and it's another thing to like have them and let them go and then be present. That's what we do in yoga. Yeah. It's like, what's your intention, and can you water that seed through your awareness, through your breath, through your body, through the movements, because the whole experience is that. It's an experience, you know, and then we're missing life. If we're so set on something, I'm not there yet.
Right.
Make the journey the destination.
Right.
That's it.
I love that.
Yes.
Love that.
So good.
So I read an article about children, instead of being put in detention, they're putting them into meditation rooms. Yes. I love that idea. I love that concept. What's your feedback from that?
Yeah, I mean, oh my God, this is children. That's where it needs to start. That would be if I could like do anything with meditation. Like, I love teaching adults, but children. I did a children's yoga teacher training for that reason, to start them young. I think that constructive discipline in that way. I mean, discipline is an interesting word. You know, it's like has got a heavy energy to it. But that type of teaching, to me, is crucial for young people, because, you know, that incessant and habitual movement of the mind and judgment and analysis and stressing and over-dramatization is learned. It's not inherent. So I think that the earlier that we start teaching meditation, the better, because it's like building a muscle. And it's only going to stay with you as you grow up, so that, you know, we can teach our children and so forth and so on. They can teach theirs. I think that children are the ultimate meditators, especially like really young infants and babies. I mean, come on.
They're the most in the moment.
They're the most in the moment.
Yeah.
And it's conditioning, and it's actually through the anger and resistance and aggression, I think, that we lose this connection, and we fall into that sense of separation and self-judgment and rejection. And I think a lot of our triggers these days are activated based on how we were treated when we were young. And like, oh gosh, I'm bad, I'm wrong, because I used to get sent to detention when I was young. And if this person treats me this way, I immediately go back into that false, perhaps, belief system based on one thing that happened in my life that shifted. Because, you know, when you're young, your brain is way more susceptible. Like, the prefrontal cortex doesn't even fully develop until you're like 20 years old. So think of it as like mush. Think of it as a sponge. So if you're learning meditation at a younger age, it's going to go in deeper and it's going to stick. I mean, I've been teaching adults for a long time, and it's like, oish. We got to keep on teaching. Koi day and a half. We just got to keep on teaching. But, you know, the children, like, they absorb it really easily. So, yes, I think that it's a no-brainer.
And unfortunately, the only thing that I've read about there being issues with that, especially, I'm from Indiana, and Indiana's, you know, kind of like, we're pretty far back in a sense of progression.
I get it.
Shout out to Indianapolis, so I love my city. That being said, we had a couple of people that wanted meditation classes, but there was religious. People did not want that for religious reasons, and we had this whole thing of scientists, you know, from my school and outward saying, this is a clinical, scientifically backed up, you know, and so I think that we're going to have to work towards, because I mean, they can't do it in schools in a lot of states for religious reasons.
Of course.
I mean, but it's not. That's the thing, because I had a conversation with my stepmom years ago, and I told her, like, oh, I want to start doing yoga and meditation like years ago, and she was like, oh, that's tapping into a whole nother spiritual world, blah blah blah. And I'm just like, no, I just look at it as exercise and just bettering myself, you know. Totally. So how can we explain to people that it's not? I don't consider it a religion.
Yeah,
It's not a religion to me.
It's not a religion, and it's You know, I think that when people don't know, when they haven't experienced it, it can be intimidating. I mean, I never thought I was going to become a yoga teacher. And the idea of yoga or meditation, I wasn't one of those people. You know, I was in that category. I wasn't a spiritual person. We're all spiritual beings, in my opinion.
Right.
And what is religious? What does that even mean? You know, like, what is your definition of that? And where does that threat come from? So just being in a state of inquiry around those questions is, I think, important. And also, as people who are embarking on meditation and yoga, to just like have the experiences and the benefits speak for themselves. So you're not trying to push it onto anyone else or change anyone else or force anybody else to become like you, but you begin to radiate this energy and this frequency that's so authentic that people start to question you. So it's like it speaks for itself. And I do think that it's important. Like, I think we're doing it right now. I think, honestly, by just bringing it down to, like, the baseline of, like, this is what you do. It's not rocket science. It's not some sort of crazy hippie seance, you know. It's just, like, regular, and letting people know that it's regular. You don't have to go somewhere. You don't have to go to India. You don't have to go to Bali. You don't have to travel. Like, sure, that can enhance your life and your consciousness and your being, but you can do it at the desk at work. You know, you can do it while you're doing the laundry. And I think that just being able to give people practical tools for their everyday life, and it's up to them if they practice, and then the experiences will speak for themselves. You know, I think that again, it depends on like what is religious. You know, to me, like, you know, drinking my morning coffee is religious. It's my ritual.
It really is.
Burning my incense. It's like that is my church. You know, going to yoga. So it just kind of depends on like what you know, what meaning you place on that kind of stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
That's your choice.
And do your research too.
Yes, there's so many different things. There's so many.
True. At the end of the day, like, know what you're talking about.
Yes.
Because some people don't know, and they just say things, and it's like, that has no validity whatsoever and no foundation. So, yeah, it's important. And to, you know, just say, okay, thank you. Thank you for your input. I'm just going to go and meditate now because I got to just process
because
that.
I can.
Yeah.
I was actually sponsored for the World Happiness Summit in Miami this past year. So I went with my mom, and so we had like Sean Anchor. It was sponsored by Lululemon.
Oh, yeah.
And so it was a 3-day happiness convention. We had like gurus and people, happiness researchers, mindfulness researchers.
Was everybody happy there?
It was amazing. And I was voted the happiest girl at the happiness convention.
Oh my God.
And I was wearing my scarf. I usually wear like a head wrap. And Sean Anchor, who's like has one of the most watched TED Talks, someone I guess asked him later on, like, who's the happiest person? He was like, that girl with the head wrap. Like, he didn't know my name. But it was amazing. But you also had this dichotomy of like, there were times when I like was not happy there. And I'm like, it's almost, you can force happiness too much. It was like 3 days of amazingness, but it was also like, I can't be this happy. Like life is like moving around me. But that being said, they had someone hooked up to a, you know, it can read your brain waves.
Oh, yeah.
And while meditating and while thinking, you know, they had this person think of like a horrible breakup or death in a family, and you could see the brain waves moving versus having like a neutral or positive thought. And like quite literally, this guy is on the stage and you are watching his brain react.
Wow.
And heart rate. It was heart and brain linked. And so, yeah, and we had a guru speak, and he was like, you know, a lot of people think there's this right way to do this. And there's no right way. I also took a yoga class, and they had this huge, you know, battle about materialism. And the Lululemons of our generation, and the moms that are showing up, and, you know, I think it's great for everybody, but there's a lot of politics, you know, with it. And Absolutely. So how at your yoga studio have you guys been able to kind of create, I mean, what is your MO? Are you for everybody? Are you people that are more trying to work out or an enmeshment? I mean, because there's people do yoga for, as we've already discussed, a variety of reasons.
Totally. Wow. That's such a great question. Well, especially at Tantras where I teach. I mean, it's Russell's vision and it's mine and everyone that he's hired, and it's somehow miraculous that he has kind of gathered these people who trying to make yoga mainstream. So we're trying to, so the classes are a mixture of modern, I'll even say hip hop, because like when it comes to the music, it's like a mixture of hip hop and devotional music.
Ooh.
So it's interesting that like people who have never done yoga before will come and feel comfortable because they're listening to Beyonce or they're listening to Tupac, and then all of a sudden like Krishna Das comes on and there's chanting and there's like mantras in Sanskrit, and it's like, what the hell? But it goes in because it works, because there's this blend, and yoga is, I believe, in my life, like I said, I try to make my waking life, my waking reality, a meditation. Can we harness both? Can we be in this material world without needing to escape to go live in a cave in the mountains and meditate our lives away, and at the same time not be so identified with that which is physical, and like keep our focus on karma, on our purpose, on our heart, on serving others,
right,
on, you know, true love and trust and flow in that way, so we can really activate our highest potential and purpose in life, and at the same time be calm in our minds and not get taken over by the, you know, illusion of drama, which is really, you know, not always real. So the audience is diverse. People tend to think that they're, well, see, not everybody, it depends, but many people tend to think they're coming for a workout, right? And then things shift. I have seen people change. We just had a 30-day challenge for the month of October, and it's over now, but it was 30 days straight of yoga and veganism, which is interesting.
Right.
And these are
That's
people
super
who,
cool.
it's right, and these people do not do either of those often, and it's like I have seen people's bodies and minds and lives transform. I get messages from people from tantras all the time who are like, oh my God, like, you know, asking for book recommendations, but because of Russell's vision, you know, but, and also, you know, all of ours, it's, can I ground this in something regular? I mean, there's a hair salon downstairs. There's like there's a boutique, you know, there's our artist of the month is Tupac for November, and people come, and no matter what, in every single class, we are going to chant a mantra for peace in Sanskrit, and we're also going to have a theme of the month where we discuss a specific topic related to the philosophy of yoga, oftentimes the Yoga Sutras, which you will probably never learn unless you take it upon yourself to like read the sutras, or you do a yoga teacher training, a professional training. So we're trying to bridge the gap and make real yoga, authentic yoga and meditation possible without, I mean, it's warm, it's hot yoga. So it's like a core power. It's
Right.
hot yoga. So people are still getting a workout because the body, when the body is conditioned, when we're eating well, it's all part of the meditation. That's why the physical portion of yoga prepares the body to sit, you know, and eating well is going to clear out the channels in the body so that we can feel more into our inherent peace. If it's blocked up with bad food and we're not moving and we're sedentary all day, how is the mind going to be at peace? So really bringing all aspects of yoga into one, and bringing it to a diverse audience. The people who come to that studio, it's like, oh my God, I get so, my heart is so happy every time. And they come back and they come back, and seeing that just proves that this practice, meditation and yoga, works for all beings. Everybody, I don't care your color, your gender, your age, your race, your belief systems. It is just universal. That's it.
I love it.
Amazing. And so do you guys offer students to work and get a reduction off of their cost as well? I know a lot of studios have been doing that lately.
Oh, like the work study programs? I don't think we have that yet. The studio is still less than a year old, so they're still like, it's still like
very
totally
new.
evolving. Yeah, super new. I know that there are different package rates. There's like rates for students, rates for like actors and models, and like the LA thing is taken into consideration. And overall, the rates I know are affordable on purpose to make it accessible for everyone. There's this thing called Soul Sunday every Sunday. So like it's a class, and then Russell and I give a lecture after the class, and then we have a vegan brunch, and like the whole thing is like $20 or $30. So
What?
yeah, and it's like
This is every
Sounds
Sunday.
amazing.
it's every Sunday.
Okay,
Okay.
Michelle, we have to go on a Sunday.
Let's
Come
go.
this
That sounds
Sunday.
amazing.
Oh my God, come if you can. It's
What?
so magical. I'll get you guys guests. I'll get you guys as guests.
Amazing.
But yeah, no, it's really amazing. And Cafe Gratitude is their sponsor. So it's
Oh,
like,
that place is so
it is
bomb.
like legit, you know, everything is legit. And it's about building community, and like 90 people come every single time. It's just been growing day by day. It's always sold out, and it's a lot of people. So this is back to religion. Literally every single time there'll be at least 2 people who, like, when we do like Q&A at the end, they'll be like, so just so you know, I skipped church to come here today, or I left church early to be here today, because it's just getting in. It's like that sense of community and groundedness, and at the same time, it's not a religion, but it's feeding a part of the soul, and to be open to the possibility that something can feed your soul without it having to be some sort of dogmatic, labeled religious theory, I think is important. It's powerful.
Absolutely. Yes.
Yes. I'm so inspired. I'm like, I want to just go out and do yoga now.
All right. Let's just meditate.
Would you be open to doing like a quick little 5-minute meditation, like close out the show like this?
Totally. Absolutely.
Okay, cool.
Do you want her to, would you do a guided? Do you do guided?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Awesome.
Let's
We'll
do
do
it.
like a guided breathing practice.
Okay.
So let's see. So there's so many to choose from. I think that we'll do one that you can do sitting up or laying down. I mean, we'll sit up, obviously. That would be interesting.
Actually, I was just going to get on the table right now.
To like iron out anything that perhaps is causing anxiety or stress or confusion. If you're feeling stuck anywhere in your life and you're not sure what the answer is, consider that the answer is not going to be figured out by your mind. And that's okay, but the answer does have the possibility to bubble up from your belly, from a place deeper within you. So this very simple breathing practice can combat and shift and smooth out anxiety, and also invite you into your gut. You know, there's a reason that we call something a gut feeling, and we're just going to get more in tune with our center of intuition, our center of clarity and self-knowledge. So if you'd like, if you're sitting, sit up really tall, even if you have to lean against a wall or move forward on your chair so that you can elongate your spine. This is a really great way to activate your energy centers, your chakras, and to feel a little bit more buoyant and elevated in your being. If you're laying on the floor, awesome. You can, regardless of how you're sitting or laying, place your hands for a moment below your belly button. So both hands on your belly, your second chakra, your center of creative energy and sensuality and self-love. Without doing anything, you're welcome to close your eyes. If that's uncomfortable for you, you can keep your eyes open. Just really want to find something that feels natural, already like a meditation. And notice whatever you notice, thoughts, sounds, sensations in your body. Let everything be as it is. Nothing needs to change, just you shifting to the witness, shifting to the observer. Noticing your breath in its natural state. Nothing to do, nothing to change. The mind may be moving, the body's still. Breath moving. Good. All I want you to do is keeping your hands on your lower abdomen, through your mouth, just exhale the rest of your breath so the lungs become empty. All the way out. Like you can even press your hands back into your belly. That's it. Now through your nose, take an inhale, but fill up your belly. Feel your hands expand. Keep inhaling. Feel the rib cage open up like a balloon. Keep inhaling all the way. Feel the breath rise up into your chest. Hold the breath in for just a few moments and try to avoid gripping your face. Keep everything nice and soft. And through the mouth, exhale. Yep,
that was spiritual.
Yes, it was. That's the ultimate letting go. And we'll do it again. Inhale, feel the belly rise first, then the rib cage flares open, then the chest lifts. So each chamber of the lungs is filling with fresh oxygen, fresh life. Hold it in for a few breaths. So there's this soft retention, bringing the energy up. Hold, hold, hold. And smooth. Exhale, side out. Feel the chest relax. Feel the ribs pull in. Feel the navel draw back. Squeeze it out more. And we'll do one more together. Inhale. You really want to feel a Buddha belly. So let go of the six-pack abs for now. Like really let it flow outward and really feel from the bottom of your abdomen all the way, all the way. And then when you're full, see if you can sip in a little bit more air. Like really go up to the collarbones. Pause. Relax your jaw. Relax your eyes. Relax your tongue. Yep. Let it go. Exhale, exhale. Keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. Yeah, there's always a little more to go. And then come back to the natural breathing. And just sit with what is. Natural breathing, nothing to control. So the three-part breath, you go from the lower chamber, the middle chamber, the upper chamber, and you let go. This is an amazing breathing practice to do to initiate meditation, to notice what has the power to shift by simply carving out 2 minutes to take a deeper breath, to feel what you feel without pushing it away, and to allow yourself to have an experience. I always say all it takes is a subtle shift to create a profound difference, and you have everything that you need within. This breathing practice is amazing if you ever are. I use it like when I fly on airplanes a lot. If I'm going to be in a meeting that's causing me nervousness, again, if I'm feeling stress or anxiety on any level, all you need are 3. To fill yourself up with something new and to let go of something that doesn't serve you. Your breath, sounding, and moving your body, the keys to peace. If you have an intention for the rest of the day, this is a great time, since the body is at a place of clarity and peace, to call in something, call forth something that perhaps inspires you, or an energy or a frequency that you desire to radiate outwardly. And just really feel that moving into every cell, just like your breath was moving into every single cell of your being. Knowing that you have the power to create your own reality through your mind. Deep breath in, and just let it go. Soft exhale. And gently open your eyes to a brand new moment, brand new mind. And thank you for receiving.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes,
oh my gosh, I'm so hyped right now.
Wow, I just feel like I had a shot of caffeine. That's how it is, too.
It
That's
really
also
is.
the secrets of meditation. It's like literally an espresso. If you drink coffee. If
Yes.
not, it's a green tea.
Yes.
But, you know, it does
Matcha.
give us energy. Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
It's like a mini nap, like, in a good way, though, in a constructive
You
way.
feel refreshed.
Exactly.
Really. Do you have a
exactly.
favorite app on your phone?
There's Headspace,
for our
which
listeners?
is great.
Mhm.
Headspace is amazing because it's for us. There's just so much. And then there's another one called Insight Timer.
Mhm.
Yeah, girl,
Yeah.
you know that's like more the
Yes.
Buddhist style, but that's very simple. That's like
And it's free. That one is free. Headspace, I don't believe is free.
You're right. Headspace is. There's another one. I forget the name, but I'll find it for you guys. But yeah, Headspace is like the ultimate. And then Insight Timer, I love it.
I love
Actually,
it.
that was my first one because it's simple. It's bowls. You just set a timer, and then you get to pick the chime that you want at the end. And I
Nice.
always look forward to the chime, and it just dings when you're ready. So you can set the timer 5 minutes a day, sitting with your breath. You can do the deep breathing like that. I like to ignite the meditation with the deep breathing because then I feel like I can settle. You can do a couple of yoga stretches first. And like I said, you can lay down, you can go for a walk in nature, but try to leave the external stimulation behind. Even reading, try to just keep the mind clear and be with your senses, you know, be with what is. And tune in. There's always meditation's always happening.
Yes.
You want it to.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you so
I love
much.
it.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you
Thank
so
you guys
much.
so much. I
And
really appreciate
how can
it.
we find you on Instagram,
Yes.
social media?
Yeah, Instagram @Shayna Hiller, SHAYNAHILLER, and same thing with Facebook. I'm there, and I'm on all the time. I always have my stories flow in, and at Tantra's if you live in Hollywood, you know I'm always there. I teach in Venice also at the Yoga Collective, and that's it. Always on the interwebs.
All right.
Thank
Sounds
you.
good. Thank
I'm so
you.
grateful. Have a beautiful day.
You too.
Thank you.
All right, guys. It's a wrapperoni. Make sure you follow us on It's a Session. Let me do that over again. Make sure you follow us on It's a Session social media, which is it's_the session. And we'll catch you guys next time.